Alright, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of Sensible Investing. Jesse here, and today I wanted to bring you guys an update on cruise stocks. More specifically, we're going to be talking about a bailout and the fact that they don't qualify for the bailout, okay? And we're not just talking one cruise stock, but we're actually talking all of the cruise stocks. So whether it's Carnival or Norwegian cruises or Royal Caribbean cruises, none of these cruise stocks qualify for the bailout. As you guys may recall, if you haven't watched my previous video on cruise stocks, do have a look at that. But I talked about some of the reasons, the key reasons driving my analysis and my conclusion as to why they won't get a bailout. It looks like the two key reasons have largely materialized. And the first key reason here is the fact that none of these cruise stocks are American-based tax entities, okay? Now, we're not talking about whether their office is, for example, based in Florida. We're actually talking about whether they're registered tax office, okay? So the office at where they register to pay tax. None of these are based in America. And the second reason is because the overwhelming majority of employees that they employ are not U.S. citizens or residents. And again, they are not American tax-paying workers, okay? Because they come from all sorts of other areas, and they either pay tax to those areas on short-term engagements or on longer-term engagements. They effectively pay tax, no tax at all, because they are based out in sea in the middle of nowhere, so they don't really fall under any country's tax laws, okay guys? So these are the two reasons all of these cruise companies base their headquarters or their registered taxable headquarters in the likes of Panama or Bahamas or Bermuda or Malta. And the reason being is because they are effectively paying less than 1% tax compared to your average American corporate tax rate of 21%. And as a result, if they were to pay the full American tax of 21%, their profitability would be severely impacted, right? Because on average, they make about 14 to 19% net profit margin per passenger. Imagine paying a 21% corporate tax, okay? It'll go in seconds. Now, some might say, well, look, they pay the ports, but again, the amount that they pay the ports is nominal, okay? It's $4 to $15 per passenger, and we have to keep in mind the ports then take that money to maintain and upkeep the ports. And so it's a bit of a double-edged sword for the cruise industry, because when times are good, they will be printing money for days, right? They'll be printing money after money after money, and they'll be swimming in money. But when times are bad and they want to sort of negotiate a payout or a bailout, you know, they're not in the strongest of positions because the majority of their employees don't pay U.S. tax, and you know, they don't pay any U.S. tax. Now, some might argue that they have quite a lot of economic impact in terms of the benefits to the different regions, okay? And I agree with that. 421,000 employees, that's not a small number. However, I'm going to cover later on in this video why, again, that's not a good negotiating point, all right? Now, the reason why I say that is because there are a few reasons. So if you have a look at it over here, it's not affecting all of America. It's only affecting 6 key regions surrounding where the ports are, okay? Furthermore, if we compare that with the airline industry, which has an impact of $1.7 trillion and 10 million jobs, and then for the cruise industry, you're looking at only 421,000 and 53 billion of impact, and the airlines are only getting about $60 billion worth of bailing out, you know, you can see that in the greater scheme of things, there are a lot of industries hurt as bad as the cruise industry. For example, the hotel industry and the conferences industry that provide as much economic benefit that also aren't getting a bailout. So the case, you know, is getting weaker and weaker for them to get bailed out. Furthermore, if we have a look at this, now, like I mentioned before, on short-term engagements, the employees of the cruise ship will pay local tax of their country of origin. On longer-term engagements, they pay no tax at all. So again, that's something that the cruise ships don't really have leverage on. In addition to that, the U.S. employees or the American residents or citizens, tax-paying residents or citizens, the majority of them will be earning under $75,000 because they would be working in the surrounding areas and the likes of hospitality. And so as a result, they will most definitely qualify for the $1,200 single person's payment, or the $2,400 for the couples, and $500 for each child under 17. In addition to that, because they are American citizens and residents, they will be covered for the unemployment benefit. Okay, so that's $600 a week for up to 4 months, plus whatever their state benefits give, ranging from $200 to $550. This would also cover the gig economy workers and those who are self-employed. All right, so whether they have an extended contract with the cruise industry for more than 6 months, they'll be covered. If they have it under 3 months, then they'll still be covered. And so really, again, there's no case to say that, you know, the 421,000 American jobs won't be supported, because as you can clearly see over here, they will be supported. The small businesses in the areas that the cruise ship frequent, they would also be covered with the small business loan stimulus, right? So that's sort of $350 billion of loans, maximum up to 10 million, payroll tax credits, etc. They would all be covered. And as you guys can see over here, the leverage or the case that the cruise industry has in terms of getting a bailout is getting weaker, where, like I mentioned on the previous video, you know, it's at a point where they effectively have no leverage, you know, just because of what I covered before. So in my previous video, I said that I was undecided on the cruise industry, but seeing that my research has been confirmed and verified, for me, these stocks are an easy pass. And the reason being is because, like I said, I already covered it here, but also the fact that the risk-reward, it's really not in favor of reward, because there are a lot of different stocks, for example, good retail stocks with good, you know, e-commerce capabilities that are down as much or more than cruise stocks, and they don't have anywhere near the sort of, you know, not paying US tax, the majority of employees not being US residents. They don't have any of these headwinds facing them. That leaves the cruise industry with a very, very narrow set of options, right? Their first option is obviously the lenders or the banks, and then the second option is with the people that supply them the ships for better payment terms. And as you can see, apart from these options, they don't really have any other options. So again, that is adding to the amount of risk, and another reason for me to pass on these stocks. Okay, and keep in mind, guys, back in 9/11, there were major big airline entities that filed for bankruptcy after 10 days of everything went down. Okay, and these are, you know, airline industries that are bigger than some of the cruise industries, right? Maybe not bigger than Carnival, but they're definitely bigger than the likes of your Norwegian or your Royal Caribbean. We don't really know how long this economic damage is going to go for, and as I covered in my previous video, in terms of the amount of liabilities they have, and also the fact that their free operating cash flow will be heavily reduced, and they'll be burning cash week on week in the tens or if not hundreds of millions. For me, cruise stocks are an easy pass. Having said that, feel free to leave me your thoughts. Leave a comment and let me know whether after seeing this you're still bullish on the cruise industry, and if so, why. And until next time, guys, happy investing. I'll catch you in the next video.